Hey everyone, and welcome. Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're going to look beneath the surface of the dental industry, our biology, and even our personal histories to uncover how things really work. Whether we're talking about what's physically inside a tooth or what's hiding inside a tattoo, there are all these hidden systems at play. And by understanding those systems, you gain the power to make confident, informed choices about your health, your money, and absolutely, your future. Quick heads up before we really get going, I want to clearly tell you that these audio and video overviews are AI generated. But the human guiding this course, our instructor, has an advanced degree, several tattoos of their own, and deeply, truly believes in your potential. They designed this explainer to share empowering, practical knowledge because they know firsthand that your past does not limit your future. All right, so here is our roadmap for today. First, the business of dentistry, then, beneath the enamel. Third, the science of tattoos. Fourth, tattoos and immunity. And finally, moving forward with confidence. Let's start right off with Section 1, the business of dentistry. Who is really looking at your teeth? Have you ever wondered why taking care of your teeth feels like it's completely disconnected from the rest of your healthcare? Well, it's because the medical and dental worlds are literally divided. Ever since the very first dental college split from medicine way back in 1840, dentistry has kind of operated in its own separate universe. It has its own degrees, its own professional body, the ADA instead of the AMA, and even its own billing codes. Medicine uses CPT codes, but dentistry uses CDT codes. This historical divide is the exact reason why your medical insurance often won't touch your teeth, leaving you to figure out a totally different and, yeah, often very expensive system. And the business structure behind that divide? It's changing fast. Private equity firms, basically massive investment groups looking to maximize profit, are increasingly doing what are called roll-ups. They buy up small, independent dental practices and mash them together into massive corporate chains. Now, while a lot of corporate dentists are perfectly honest, this specific business model naturally creates incentives to hit revenue targets. It's gotten to the point where some critics actually call these massive chains the McDonald's for teeth. And because these chains have those revenue targets, overtreatment is a very real documented problem in the industry. Listen, if you get a treatment plan that's surprisingly expensive or suddenly calls for a ton of unexpected work, it is completely reasonable to get a second opinion. You've got options like dental school clinics or community health centers. Now, let me be super clear about this. This is absolutely not permission to ignore real, dangerous dental problems. Dental infections can get incredibly severe very fast. But for non-urgent stuff, pausing for a second opinion is just a smart, empowered choice. Okay, Section 2, beneath the enamel, restorations and hidden infections.
Let's move to the physical teeth themselves. When you actually do need a procedure, dentists have a few different tools to rebuild the surface, and they vary wildly in cost. You've got your affordable composite resins, which can usually be done in a single visit and match your tooth color. Then you have porcelain veneers, which are basically these highly expensive, premium ceramic upgrades that wealthier folks often get for that quote-unquote perfect smile. And of course, traditional amalgam. It's cheap, it's super durable, but it's visibly metallic. Understanding these materials just helps you know exactly what you're paying for.
But here's the thing. Even the very best dental work can fail. A simple X-ray can sometimes reveal this dark shadow right at the root of a tooth. That shadow indicates a walled-off, hidden infection. And because there's very little blood flow inside a tooth, your body's immune system, and actually even oral antibiotics, just can't easily reach it. These hidden infections absolutely have to be treated by a professional before they spread and really impact your overall health. Section 3, the science of tattoos, how ink actually interacts with your body. Speaking of your immune system working hard beneath the surface, let's pivot to something else that sits just under your skin, tattoos. When you get inked, a needle drives insoluble ink down into the dermis, the deeper layer of your skin. Your body instantly sees this ink as an invader, so these immune cells called macrophages rush in and essentially eat the ink to protect you. When those cells eventually die off, they drop the pigment, and fresh macrophages immediately swoop in to grab it again. It's this literal, endless, microscopic tug of war, and that fascinating biological loop is the exact reason why your tattoos are permanent. But here is a wild fact. Not all of that ink stays where it was put. Surprisingly, roughly a quarter of your tattoo ink actually migrates. It travels through your lymphatic system and lodges permanently right in your lymph nodes. And this migrated ink actually matters. It can mimic tumors on medical scans. There are literally documented cases of patients going through unnecessary surgeries because doctors mistook ink-filled lymph nodes for spreading cancer. Plus, this ink can keep your lymph nodes mildly inflamed. It just goes to show that a tattoo is a highly active biological presence. It's doing so much more than just sitting prettily in your skin. Which leads us to Section 4, Tattoos and Immunity, the unseen biological connections. Because tattoos keep your immune system so incredibly busy, they connect to broader health realities that we just need to navigate wisely and honestly without an ounce of shame. For example, if you have autoimmune conditions, the constant immune activity from a tattoo might cause flare-ups, so checking in with a doctor is a smart move. Also, if you have prison tattoos, getting tested for hepatitis C is quite literally one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself because today, Hep C is completely curable. No shame, just treatment. Similarly, extreme fatigue is not a character flaw. Historically, science has debunked those awful racist stereotypes about laziness by proving that severe fatigue often stems from treatable medical issues, like rare hookworm parasites. The big takeaway here, your health is totally manageable once you have the right information. Finally, Section 5, Moving Forward with Confidence. Professionalism without erasing your past. Let's bring all this science and system knowledge together and talk about your future, specifically navigating job interviews. You might assume that to be quote-unquote professional, you just have to laser off any visible tattoos. Laser removal uses a really fascinating process called selective photothermolysis, where intense heat targets and literally shatters dark matter, like ink pigment, right underneath the skin. But hold on, because laser removal is not a magic eraser. Studies show that shattering that ink mobilizes it deeper into your body. In fact, laser removal has an emerging association with a 2.5 times higher risk of lymphoma. Now, while that isn't a guaranteed outcome, it definitely means that for some people, especially if you have older or questionable ink, removal might do more harm than good. You should absolutely consult a dermatologist before taking that leap. So instead of going straight for painful, risky, and highly expensive lasers, look at this comparison. High-coverage makeup is a strategic, completely painless alternative. It uses pure color theory to hide the ink, letting you totally bypass the physical risks and massive costs of laser treatments. Here's exactly how you do it. By using a peach or orange color corrector, you effectively cancel out the dark blue-black ink of a tattoo. You dab that on first, and then you just layer your normal skin tone foundation right over it. This lets you temporarily cover a tattoo just long enough to get your foot in the door for a crucial interview. Which brings us to the most important question of all. Do you really need to erase your history to be a professional? The answer is absolutely not. You just cover it for the interview and maybe your first few days. Because once you're in that room and people actually see your kindness, your confidence, and your competence, the tattoo completely stops being the story. So I want to leave you with this final, absolutely crucial thought. You do not have to erase yourself to belong. Your past does not disqualify you from a brilliant future. You've got the knowledge, you've got the drive, and you absolutely belong in the room. The only question now is what incredible future are you going to build on top of your history?